I'm here today with Ian Learmonth, CEO of the Clean Energy Finance Corporation. You've just got off stage, Ian. You expressed a great deal of optimism about the ability of Australia to move forward on its decarbonisation journey, to get some quick wins on that journey towards net zero emissions. Why are you so optimistic?
Yeah, and look, thank you, Luke, and thanks for having me. Look, I think there's a great deal of optimism in the air. If you look at everything from the ambitions of the new federal government, state and territory governments across the country, also increasingly what corporate and industrial Australia are really pushing incredibly hard towards net zero faster than ever. I think there's a sort of social license out there that is really pushing, be they shareholders, employees, hiring, the competition around hiring, where you've got to demonstrate that you're getting to net zero faster than you can imagine. So, I think, I feel it. I hear it all the time from capital, industry, super funds, banks, investment banks. I think there's a lot of momentum. So, I think there's a lot to be excited about.
And the finance sector playing a really crucial role in that transition. Obviously, we're going to be seeing some really major capital investments over the next 10, 20, 30 years to hit that net zero target. And the finance sector has been providing a great deal of leadership in this space. When you look at the Task Force for Climate-Related Disclosures, an incredible initiative to sort of provide investors with a framework to understand, climate risk that is associated with particular businesses. What more can we expect to see from the finance sector in terms of leadership?
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot coming down that pipeline. We heard from Mark Carney in Glasgow, who, former governor of the Bank of England, who had marshalled commitments from $130 trillion worth of capital from private sector investors and financiers. So there's a huge amount of momentum and capital at wanting to invest in this clean energy transition and getting to net zero. So a huge amount of capital there. They still got to get an appropriate return, and I think there is leadership being demonstrated from certainly the more progressive end of the finance sector. They're looking at, they're looking at their portfolios. They're working out what emissions are we now financing, and I think that's something that even the CFC's kind of going to look at, down the track. And I think that's a really important thing. Disclosures, as you say, around TCFDs and so on, and increasing regulation about acknowledging where you are at on your net zero trajectory. So lots of capital out there and wanting to see what it's doing, and I think there are a lot of boards that are also looking at is our capital, what is it financing today, and decarbonising that portfolio.
So CFC obviously plays a leadership role in terms of driving some of that market as Australia's green bank. I know that you take a long-term view of these things. You know some of the things that you've got your eyes on coming down the pipeline. What are you excited about investing in? What markets are you looking to open up in the next 5 years?
Look, I think there are, there's obviously things in the energy sector, like helping the grid accommodate this very rapid uptake of renewables, but also in the built environment, in the real estate sector. Increasingly, we're working with financiers like Bank Australia around green mortgages, where the CFC is providing cheap capital to people like players like that who are out there and lending to people buying new homes or building new homes in an ultra energy efficient way. First Mac, another player in that sector. So we're trying to work with to help decarbonise the transport sector, and I think there's huge potential there. Australia has, selling at about 2% of cars a year are EVs, compared to our Norwegian friends who are up there at 50% or something. And not only are we helping a broad range of financiers offer cheaper finance in the EV sector, investing in EV recharging, and also trying to create some more sophistication, smart charging around cars where they can take that that power and in fact even send it back to the grid. We're seeing that in Europe, and I think that'll come to Australia. So we're trying to accelerate that transition as well. So they're some of the very exciting things on the horizon.
It sounds a little bit like as the CFC is sort of entering its second decade, and obviously you've had an incredible impact in the commercial building market, in the energy sector, doing a bit in the industrial sector as well. Moving into the residential sector and EVs, enabling that transformation, that the CFC could be having more and more of an impact in the day-to-day lives of Australians.
Well, look, we'd like to think so. I mean, we've only have so much capital, and we are now getting back about $1 billion a year as we're putting out, $1 billion and a half. But the key thing I think is sort of leverage, both in a financial sense. We're working and work on a project that might be building a large build-to-rent kind of accommodation on a highly sustainable basis. We might put in a slice of that and crowd in other capital along, and then that's a demonstration model for other people to follow. And we don't even need to use capital in those other examples. We're influencing. We're also influencing what's happening in the infrastructure sector, in agriculture, and that leverage by leading and having exemplary projects, I think, is another great example of our leverage.
Ian, I'm so grateful for you joining us at the National Energy Efficiency Conference, sharing some of your thoughts with us this evening. Thanks for being with us.
Absolute pleasure, Luke. Great to be here.
Cheers.